What did it make, Landon? What did this movie make?
Okay. All right, you ready?
This movie that sucks so bad, clearly it lost loads of money, right?
Well, I don't think it makes as much as you think it does.
Got a sequel.
It did get a sequel.
Got a sequel.
Domestically, this movie makes $155 million. Not its production budget, not its marketing budget. It's under.
Yeah. But
internationally, this is where you get a stacked cast of dwarves. Specifically British character actors bring in $241 million internationally.
Look, mercifully, there are not that many British people in the world. I mean, I think it's fair to assume that this movie performed really well in Asian markets. Like, did this do well in China?
Well, I don't have that. I just have international as a conglomerate.
Think about it in terms of, it's a movie that doesn't have that much, like, the dialogue and the story are not that intense.
Yeah.
You don't have to be doing that much dubbing. It's a fable that's pretty well known at this point. Like, you know, I could see it. I could see it performing, you know, in places. There's not like a lot of cultural touchstones you need to have to get this.
Sure. Well, yeah, you're right. It does get a sequel. The total box office is $396.5 million.
Yes.
But just taking marketing and production aside, which is $270 million, that only leaves you with $126 million profit, and you put some of that into development. Like, I mean, it's not making incredible Avengers numbers. And this is not something you're merchandising, really.
I mean,
that's where the sequel comes in. That's how you justify the sequel. If we can get a franchise off the ground, then we can start to merchandise.
It does, honestly, I'm thinking back about it, it does feel like a huge missed opportunity in the grossest way possible to say this, that there aren't more merchandisable bits in this movie, that there's not, like, gadgets or, like a big wagon or, like, a cool suit of armor or something.
Before we move on, I just want to pull out that Alice in Wonderland comment one more time, which is in 2012. I mean, this is one of two Snow White movies we get in the same year.
Yeah.
The other directed by our buddy Tarsem from Immortals.
That's Mirror Mirror, which is a thing that apparently in production, like, it was a real thing when Mirror Mirror was getting greenlit. According to Evan Dougherty, there was a lot of like, are we gonna make Snow White or are we not? And they finally, once they saw Mirror Mirror, they all felt very comfortable with what they were doing.
Yeah, but to the Alice in Wonderland of it all, why we were in a kind of dark fantasy, you know, remake of these stories was that Alice in Wonderland internationally crossed $1 billion.
What? Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
So, yes.
What?
So the idea that you can have a public domain fantasy story and do an updated version of it and potentially make $1 billion and not owe original writers' fees is alluring to studios.
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, it would be malpractice to not take a few more whacks at that. Shit. I'm sorry, my whole, the most impressive thing for me, the box office surprise that I was alluding to is simply me knowing how much this made. When I finished watching this movie, I was like, this piece of shit must have lost money. Like, there's just nothing here. This is such a just half-assed attempt with no life or spark to it. And to see that it made that much blew my mind. $1 billion, though. Now I realize, I guess it wasn't as successful as I thought.
Alice in Wonderland, exactly. And I think that speaks more to the market than it does the individual films. Like, coming off of the high of Alice in Wonderland, like, I don't even think you can have any story. It does not need to be Snow White. It does not need to be this take on Snow White. You just have any movie that is somewhat playing in that vein coming out shortly after Alice in Wonderland, and it's going to make this kind of money, as long as it's not complete schlock.
You know, and
but there's diminishing returns happening.
At the same, okay, no, this is real. I'm looking at the poster for Alice in Wonderland next to the poster for Snow White and the Huntsman, and it's like that's the A/B testing right there. They made Alice in Wonderland super bright and colorful, over the top Tim Burton movie color palette. I mean, the poster, I don't know, it's got more whimsy to it than this movie does.
Sure.
And that made $1 billion. And then they go and they make this movie, and it's like, what if we do this? Is this going to make $2 billion? And instead it made $400 million.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I think that's the kind of elusive question that Hollywood's always chasing is like, well, why did that make money and this not make the money that made? Therefore, we have to pivot and go back to things we know, the tried and true methods that make money, and they make a little bit of money, but not the money that we're hoping to make. And so what's the next thing that's going to make the thing that we want? But then it never ends up being the thing that they think it is.
Subscribe to Movie Memory Machine for new forgotten movies every other Friday, available wherever you listen to podcasts.